Welcome back fellow gearheads, Hollow Strife here with another class guide for Gears 5. This time around we are covering the Demolitions class. But are you gearing up?
I'm Torg, and I'm here to ask you one question and one question only. Explosions?
As you can imagine, the Demolitionist is all about explosions. So many good cards and a stupidly high damage capability with this class. If this is the first guide of mine you have found, I've got a small playlist for several classes now, link in the top right of this video. These guides are also aimed at players new to the Gears series or specifically Horde mode. So if you are a hardcore Gears fan, please have a little bit of patience. If this video does help you out at all, or you just like these kinds of guides, be sure to subscribe to see when my future class guides go live. I kept you guys waiting for this class guide for a while, and I am dumbfounded as to why it's took me so long to make the guide. I think this may be my new favourite class in Gears 5. The Demolitionist is an all-out damage dealer, and you should absolutely be hitting the top of the damage tables every single wave. This class has a lot of damage potential at its disposal. You will start every match with a Lancer, a Boom Shot and a Snub Pistol, but the best weapons to use in this class are usually the Lancer GL, Boom Shots or Frag Grenades, or all three if you decide to use a certain set of skill cards, but more on those later. Explosives of any kind work best with this class, so drop shots, torque bows and salvos are also decent options. Speaking of explosions, the Demolitionist's ultimate ability is called Artillery Strike. This will drop 5 artillery rounds onto every enemy you have marked, and each one of these artillery shells does a stupid amount of damage, able to one-shot Scions even on higher difficulties. The main downside with this ultimate though is it has the longest cooldown of any ultimate ability in Gears 5, taking 10 minutes to cool down at base. But surely you're thinking now, this doesn't sound great as you can only mark a single enemy at a time. This is where this class's passive ability comes into play. The Demolitionist is able to mark up to 5 enemies at a time, and each one of those marks lasts twice as long. The Demolitionist is one hell of a powerful class and has a few different playstyles, but you are going to need to make some levels first before this class will really take off for you. I've made up a small experience table breaking down each level's requirements for you here. It will take a lot of games of Horde to get the 369,000 experience you need to max this class out, but you do only need 18,000 experience to unlock all 5 card slots at level 9. If you happen to level up JD when it was the old hero system, any levels you had on him will have been transferred to this class. I'll cover all the skill cards for this class next. This is usually the longest part of my videos, but I do go over everything. After those, I'll quickly cover perks and then I've got some builds for you. Starting out at level 1, you have Score Boost. It fills a slot. Officer's Prerogative is next. This is a good card that will boost the damage of your ultimate ability. Definitely use this one for now. Level 3 will unlock your second card slot and Lancer GL Mastery. This is only really useful early on, and it is very restrictive, only affecting the Lancer GL. Now, are you ready to be inspired? Well, you might be, just not by this next skill card. The damage reduction you get from this card isn't high enough, and it's only relevant when you have a veteran in your game and you must be close to that player for it to even be active. This is too restrictive for the amount of resistance you get from using it, so if the value was higher, I would maybe consider it. Skip this one. When you unlock skill card slot number 3, you also unlock Concussive Strike. This is an exceptionally good crowd control card, especially if you are playing on higher difficulties. It will stun enemies that aren't quite killed by your ultimate, giving you plenty of time to finish them off. Next up is Launcher Mastery. This just gives you a larger active reload bar, so not worth using. Do not waste a card slot on this. If you are struggling to hit your active reload, just practice between waves or in a private match. Card slot number 4 is unlocked at level 7. You will want to equip your new card, Custom Lancer GL in this new card slot as well. A damage buff for the Lancer GL only, but it does also improve the damage of the underbarrel grenades as well. Good Kill is your next skill card to be unlocked. This will support your team by having enemies you kill drop ammo when you are near teammates. It's a good idea, however, ammo never really becomes an issue, especially in later waves of Horde. At level 9 you unlock your final card slot, congratulations, and you will also unlock Custom Boomshot, a fantastic card. Equip this in your new card slot. This will just make your boom shots do a lot more damage, and the fact that you start with one is even better. A lot of demolitionists will choose to stockpile these on weapon lockers so they have a constant supply. The next card you will unlock is Spotter Support, another amazing skill card for the demolitionist. If any of your teammates mark enemies when you use your artillery strike, it will also drop some rounds onto your teammates' marked target as well. Something useful to know about this, as it has gotten me killed a couple of times. Let's say you and 2 teammates mark the same enemy, 3 different strikes will take place on that enemy. Even if the target dies from the first drop of artillery, 2 more strikes will drop onto where the enemy died. So be mindful before running out to say pick up energy or weapons, as the demolitionist ultimate will kill you immediately if you run underneath it. If you like using grenades, you will like this next card. Grenade Satchel just lets you carry more grenades at any time, up to a maximum of 8 once you have this card maxed out. Simple as that. Razor Hail is next. This might sound familiar to those of you who have played Gears 2, but this isn't going to be dropping Razor Shard Ice on enemies, unfortunately. Instead, any explosive damage you do will cause enemies to bleed, or a percentage of the damage dealt. This card will feature in almost every demolitionist build out there, including the ones I will show you later. It's just that powerful. Equip this and never remove it. At level 14 you will unlock Epic Score Boost. Meh, this one fills a slot once again. Not needed unless you want to go for a high score leaderboard rank. At level 16 you will unlock the Demolitionist's first gold skill card, Confirmed Kill. This can be useful at helping you get your ultimate back that little bit faster. The maximum number of enemies you can mark is 5, so the minimum amount of extra cooldown you want to be getting is 50 seconds. Although let's say you pair the Spotter Support card and this one with the Tactician, linked to my guide in the top right, you could use your ultimate on 15 or more enemies, making much more use out of this card. It is situational and not worth using in every Horde match, so pick and choose wisely. The next card to be unlocked is Gambit. This will let you plant more grenade traps at once, maxing out at 8. I felt like this was going to be very underwhelming when I unlocked it, but I am glad I was wrong. Pair this with Grenade Satchel and you can plant grenades all over the map. This will either kill a lot of smaller enemies or severely weaken larger enemies before they get to you. The final skill card to be unlocked as the Demolitionist is Bullet Boost. This is your second gold skill card and I really wanted to like this card. The damage buff is nice, don't get me wrong, but there's no visual cue other than damage numbers to show that you actually are doing more damage. A nice change I would like to see is maybe just a small buff icon displaying the buff damage amount with a little timer. Something like this that I've just thrown together. This card can work in the right circumstance, but it's not the easiest thing to keep track of though. With the skill cards out the way, we need to cover the perks. Each class has access to 4 different perks once inside a Horde match. These perks can be leveled up to 10, costing more energy with each level. Maxing out any single perk will cost 24,250 energy, so maxing out all perks will cost 97,000 energy, not cheap. The Demolitionist class has ammo regeneration, critical damage, assault rifle damage, and ultimate cooldown. And here are all the values and cost of each perk and at each level. For the Demolitions class, I actually have 4 builds for you. 3 focusing heavily into one different aspect of this class, and a final all-round kind of class. So here goes. Build number 1 will have the following skill cards, and this kind of build focuses heavily on the Lancer GL as being your main source of damage. Custom Lancer GL is here simply because it is a big damage buff, and if we're going to be using that weapon only, it would be stupid not to include this. Razor Hail and Confirmed Kill are here to deal massive amounts of damage, hopefully killing everything you target. If the mix of explosives and bleed kill a bunch of enemies, this will feed into the Bullet Boost skill card, give you up to 200% additional ballistic damage. It's hard to tell when your damage will start to drop off with Bullet Boost though, but it does so in stages. Each kill or stack has a 15-second duration, so your damage will go up and down in stages with this card equipped. You do have an empty card slot to choose here as well. Some good options would be Spotter Support to try and get more kills with your Artillery Strike when it is available. Lancer GL Mastery does actually work very well here too, since the ballistic side will be a big source of damage for you. Custom Boom Shot or Grenade Satchel can also be used to try and get more explosive kills outside of using your ultimate, but does involve a lot of swapping weapons back and forth. Perk order I would suggest for this build would be Assault Rifle damage and critical damage first, then ammo regeneration and ultimate cooldown joint second. This build will work extremely well with the veteran for the free aimbot. Build number 2 is going to focus heavily on this class's ultimate ability, Artillery Strike. Use the following skill cards to boost your ultimate to the best version it can be. Confirmed Kill will help this to be up more often. Spotter Support will make it possible to drop artillery rounds on pretty much everything. Make sure you tell your teammates to mark all the enemies they can. Concussive Strike will provide some crowd control to anything that doesn't die straight away, particularly bosses like carriers and matriarchs. Officer's Prerogative will make your artillery do 20% more damage with each level, so 120% extra damage if you max this card out. And if that extra damage isn't enough, Razor Hail will cause some huge bleeding damage to anything still left alive. If you did want to swap a card or two out for something else, I would suggest Concussive Strike or Confirmed Kill. What you choose to take instead will depend on your own personal playstyle. Perk order for this class must be ultimate cooldown first, then the other 3 can be done in any order depending on what other card you may have swapped out for. So if you did swap out for say Custom Boom Shot, maybe ammo regeneration would be a little bit helpful. Or if you choose to use a long shot, for whatever reason, critical damage would probably be more important. You aren't tied down to a certain set of weapons with a build like this. This build does pair well with a tactician who can mark all enemies on the battlefield for you, dropping artillery everywhere. The third build I want to suggest was a bit of a hidden gem, but I did fall in love with this kind of playstyle. Here's the setup you want. Razor Hail is here as your main source of damage because we are going to be using as many explosions as we can and nothing else. Spotter Support will be here once again to help you deal more damage to more marked targets using Artillery Strike, but you will be doing a lot of damage with Custom Boom Shot, Grenade Satchel and Gambit. Okay, the idea with this one, between waves, plant as many grenades, up to 8, as far from your base as you can. Narrow corridors and tight spaces work best. This will help you pick off or weaken most enemies, then you can use your Boom Shot to finish off some of the bigger enemies. Buying grenades from the fabricator is amazing for this setup as you have an endless supply and grenades are secretly very overpowered in my opinion. Best perk order for this setup would be ultimate cooldown, then ammo regeneration. You can completely ignore the other 2 perks in place of buying grenades, and having a tactician around marking enemies and providing ammo for your boom shot is extremely effective for this build. Any kind of engineer can also help slow down and group up enemies with a mix of barriers and decoys, helping you make the most out of your planted grenades as well. The final build I have for you today will be a more balanced approach, all round kind of playstyle. Here is a skill card setup. Custom Lancer and Custom Boom Shot will be here as your main sources of damage. Switch between these depending on the situation. Razor Hail will always help, as it will buff all your explosive damage again. And Grenade Satchel, as you can still plant grenades or throw them if you happen to need some extra explosive damage. You once again have another empty card slot for anything else. I personally prefer Spotter Support or Confirmed Kill to help buff your artillery strike that little bit, but just take whatever feels best for yourself. The perks for this class would be Ultimate Cooldown and Assault Rifle damage first, then Ammo Regeneration, and finally Critical damage. Tacticians and Veterans are both good pairings for this kind of setup, for the same reasons as earlier, a free aimbot and ammo. I have tried all these playstyles that I've shown you, and of course I do have my preferences. I switch between the balanced kind of playstyle and the one where I plant lots of frag grenades most regularly. But if I know I have a tactician marking all enemies with their setup, I will go for the second build, buffing my ultimate ability. I tried the first build for a while, focusing on the Lancer GL, but not being able to tell how much extra damage I'm doing, and not knowing how long I have left on the buff, really put me off using it. One change I wouldn't mind seeing for this class would involve the critical damage perk. If this were to change to grenade resupply, just like the Slugger's new perk that was recently added, it would make grenades a lot more viable on this class. But you guys need to get into Horde and try this mix of builds for yourself, and let me know what you think, or which one you will be trying when you start to level this class up. I know this video is already quite long, but there's one last unlockable thing we haven't looked at yet. Reaching level 20 with the Demolitions class will give you the Heroic Venom weapon skin for the Lancer GL Assault Rifle, and I'll demo it on screen for you now. That is everything there is to the Demolitions class for Horde mode. I did have a lot of fun with this class. I'm glad to be able to see some diversity in the builds available. Try these builds out and let me know what you think in the comments below. Or if you think I missed out anything important, then also let me know as well. If this guide helped out at all, then be sure to subscribe to see which class I cover next. I'm not entirely sure which class I will actually cover next. I am excited to try out all the recent changes the promotional classes got, but we'll have to wait and see. Thank you for watching this guide on the Demolitionist. I hope you have an awesome day, and I'll see you in the next one, Gears.
New mission! I want you to blow up the ocean!